From the John C. Hint Production Art Studios in Peoria, Illinois, VideoMax Limited presents Midstate Magazine with your hosts, Kayla Neitz and Dawn McClure. News with Brent Davalis and Danielle Kamsky and the Midstate reporting team. Sports with Spencer Shelton. Nikki Garabrandt takes us about town. Get Real with Ricky Hendon. And Jackie Myers is in the spotlight. Street Team with Pablo Iglesias. Taylor Hurnett with About Crew. And State of the Arts with Brooke James. And now, from America's friendliest city, Midstate Magazine. Take it away, kids.
Good evening and welcome to Midstate Magazine. I'm Dawn McClure.
And I'm Kayla Neitz. Welcome to the Midstate Superhero Edition.
All right, Kayla, so you are Captain Awesome, right?
I am. I am Captain Awesome. That is me.
All right, and who is Captain Awesome, or how did you come up with Captain Awesome?
Well, once again, I am Captain Awesome.
Oh, okay.
But he or she is not a real person unless we do officially give me the name of this title. Okay. But no, it's not real. It's just something I had. I didn't have any superhero clothes, but we did make this at church one time. Right. And I figured I'd roll with it. Okay. So you're superhero today. Or I mean, you're Superman.
Yeah, you know, but I'm trying to keep him low key. So it's just like if I only have to, you know.
Well, the paparazzi.
You know, it's huge right
rough.
now, so I got to keep a low profile.
I would imagine that's a very tough thing for you to deal with on a day-to-day basis.
It is, but you know, I somehow I get by and manage.
I'm glad.
Not too bad. But what else is going on in today in Midstate, you know?
Well, we've read about some Photoshop things that have been going on, especially with Target. That's the biggest thing right now. They tried to Photoshop this girl so much to the point where it actually looks like a square. Like, they Photoshopped her thighs and tried to cut it out. And it ended up looking so far apart that it was just, you know, humanly impossible. Right. And then they tried to Photoshop her hips and her rib cage, and it looked really glitchy. So you could see parts of her skin not connected to her body anymore. Oh, wow. So, like, where it was, and then they cut out the middle, and they just did a really sloppy job with it. But so they actually ended up sending out a written apology, just giving out these ideas of what perfection is, you know, and unrealistic expectations for young girls. Which is something huge. I mean, and I don't think even if it's still huge against women, but it's the same thing happening for men, but for women especially, I think body images has always been a problem, you know. Absolutely. So, and hopefully, you know, with what's coming up next, we'll see that everything keep going right. Yep, everything, what's going on next, hopefully we'll get updated. And we're going to continue with our superhero theme, and hopefully that we'll see what our next segment is. Yes. All right.
Good evening. And welcome to Midstate Magazine. Captain America.
And I'm Wonder Woman. Now let's take a look at the news.
The first month of recreational marijuana sales in Colorado brought in about $2 million in tax revenue, the first indicator of earning potential of the U.S.'s premier legal pot market. The January figure for retail sales was more than twice the $900,000 in taxes on medical marijuana, which has been legal since 2000. The long-awaited figures were in line with what state officials said they expected as marijuana emerged from prohibition in Colorado. The Senate on Monday approved a bill giving victims of sexual assault in the military more say in how crimes are prosecuted, building on other revisions last year as Congress pushes to reform a system all sides acknowledge is flawed. The plan, which passed 97-0, would give victims some say in whether the case is tried in military or civilian court, would prevent someone's past good behavior from being used as a defense in sexual assault charges, and would let troops grade their commanders on how well the command climate handles reports of sexual assault.
A former Peoria Caterpillar employee was sentenced to 5 years in prison last week after pleading guilty to this crime of stealing up to $100,000 worth of Caterpillar parts while working at the company. John Peters of East Peoria sold the stolen parts on eBay, making more than $500,000 in illicit profit. Peters' court date is March 17th at the Tazewell Country Court. Peoria native Chris Kennedy returned to his roots in Peoria to serve as Salvation Army's new Divisional Director of Development. Kennedy grew up in the Peoria area and moved back from his home in Kansas to accept the position that his father previously held from 1973 to 1980. Kennedy's new position makes him in charge of overseeing fundraising in the Heartland Division, which stretches from Danville to Waterloo, Iowa.
The Washington Chamber of Commerce changed the name of the long-held Washington Cherry Festival held on May 28th through June 1st to Washington Good Neighbor Days. The Chamber contemplated the name change for years and decided to do the switch after the neighborly acts of kindness that occurred in the time frame of the November tornadoes. The festival will feature carnival rides, a craft show, and a white tiger exhibit.
Construction on Main Street and University has finally begun. The construction has brought many accidents, and one accident our Midstate reporting team was able to get a shot of. This particular accident, a blue BMW SUV, was struck by a Caterpillar construction vehicle. The congested intersection left many in shock, however, all walked away unharmed. The construction is expected to go on until May, and it is suggested to take alternate routes. Now let's go over to Clark Kent with sports.
Come on, Clark, get on up here.
Just give me a second here. I was busy fighting crime.
Superman, this is the last one we'd expect this from.
I know. All right. Thank you, Wonder Woman. A key cog to the Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks is back with the team. Defensive end Michael Bennett, who is scheduled to become a free agent, signed a 4-year, $29 million deal with $16 million guaranteed last week. The deal ends speculation as to where Bennett would land, with multiple reports suggesting the Chicago Bears were in the mix to land the versatile lineman. Last year, Bennett had 9 sacks, along with a forced fumble and a fumble recovery that was returned for a touchdown. Arizona Cardinals running back Rashard Mendenhall has retired after 6 seasons in the NFL. Mendenhall averaged only 3 yards per carry last season and lost his starting job outright to second-string Andre Ellington. A member of the Pittsburgh Steelers for 5 of his 6 years in the league, Mendenhall was once compared to Franco Harris and Jerome Bettis before tearing his ACL in 2011. He finishes his career with more than 4,000 rushing yards, 39 total touchdowns, and an average of 4 yards per carry. The state of Ohio has 2 high school hockey champions. Unranked Sylvania Northview and number 1 Saginaw Natchez could not resolve a 1-1 tie after 7 overtimes last week, resulting in the 2 schools sharing the championship. Unlike the NHL, there is no shootout procedure. The decision to share the title was mutually agreed upon by the head coaches, school administrators, and the Ohio High School Athletic Association amidst player safety concerns. In total, they had played more than 100 minutes of hockey. The national high school record is 11 overtimes set by 2 schools in Minnesota. Now let's take it back to Wonder Woman with the news.
Thanks, Clark. A 22-pound cat named Lux had to be snared by Portland police officers after the owners said the ferocious feline attacked their baby in their northwest Portland apartment Sunday. When the cat attacked, the couple locked themselves in a bedroom along with their baby and dog as the cat charged at them. Police arrived in response to the unusual call and subdued the crazy cat. Luckily, no one was injured.
Now, Superman, where were you for
I was getting ready for this, but I will go to the scene immediately after, and that wraps up Midstate for the week. I'm Superman, excuse me.
I'm Captain America.
And I'm Wonder Woman. Have a great night, and be sure to join us next week.
Thank you, news team. Well, speaking of sports, I read something in the news about how there's a correlation between good-looking men and good athletes, and how it's a little bit unfair that all the athletes the professional athletes seem to be good-looking as well. And what they said was basically they think that good-looking people tend to be more athletic. It's not that the athletic people just always get the good luck.
That sounds more of an opinion.
Yeah.
I would have to see fact behind that.
They did have a couple studies, but it wasn't very, they didn't have any numbers for us. And what they tried to do is ask Olympic athletes, would you say that your competitors are good looking? And the guys were like, I'm not telling you whether or not I think that guy's good looking. That's weird, and I'm not doing it. So they wouldn't confess whether or not they thought their competitors were good looking.
Right. I mean, I think we would be focusing on sports and what's actually happening in sports besides what they look like.
Exactly.
But also, they brought up Caterpillar as well here in Peoria, and I know right now Peoria has taken the biggest hits for job losses in Illinois right now, and so that's really a huge thing. Also, in Illinois, it's been a lot of talk about drugs.
Okay.
But we'll get back to that.
We can touch on that next time.
Yes.
In honor of our superhero week, Pablo is flying around asking some fun questions.
Let's check in with the street team to see what they have in store.
The this is Pablo Iglesias with the Street Team, and today we're going to ask some Bradley students in honor of Superhero Week if they can read my mind and answer some powerful questions about superheroes. So Danielle, who would you say your favorite superhero is and why?
My favorite superhero, I have to say, will be the Flash, because when I was younger, I was really fast, and people used to call me that.
Flash, because you could be at all places at once.
So would you use that in any type of sports or anything too with your speed?
Oh, definitely. I would have ran track and played football.
So if you had to have any superpower, what would it be and why would you pick that?
I'd probably pick invisibility, because I've thought about this, and I'd just do it so I could get into movie theaters free.
And what would your costume look like?
What I got on right now.
So you'd just be a basic guy just flying all over the place?
Yes.
Sounds good. Sounds great. So Superman is a journalist. Well, actually, Clark Kent is technically a journalist at the Daily Planet, and by night he's Superman. So, can you name the owner of the Daily Planet?
I can't.
It's Bruce Wayne, or also known as Batman. It was a fun day today asking Bradley students if they knew a little bit about superheroes, and on top of that, their favorite superhero traits. Standing here with the Street Team, I'm Pablo Iglesias saying, with great power comes great responsibility. And now I'm off to the State of the Arts segment with Brooke Janes.
All right, looks like Pablo is on his way here. We'll see him later.
Thank you, Pablo.
All right, so that was a pretty fun pack right there.
Yes. So right before we started that segment, we were talking a little bit about drugs and how they're, increasing and they're.
Right. Basically, what I wanted to, it's heroin that
Okay.
people are seeing an increase in, and we, not really sure of why it's such the new hip thing or whatnot. But I just want to say, tell all the kids stay in school, or just everybody,
absolutely.
Be careful out there, and drugs is not the way to go at all.
Right.
So,
And I think a lot of the big thing that's been happening, at least that I've been hearing about, is prescription drugs. I know that you were just mentioning heroin, but prescription drugs is like really underrated for what has become the dangerous thing for kids, because they get their hands on it and then they get addicted. I don't know exactly which kinds it is, but that's really scary because it's not that hard to get, especially sometimes on college campuses. Whether it's the ADD medication, I know that's been a lot easier to get than it used to be.
Yes.
So that's kind of scary.
It is, and I think at the end of the day, if anything, people just need to be more aware of what they're taking if they are doing prescription drugs, or because some of the pills are so strong that it's very easy to get hooked, which is why they sell. And
I think like kids tend to have this mentality of like, oh well, that won't happen to me, or that's not going to happen. Like it's not going to affect me the way it affected them, and I'm not going to let it get that far and stuff like that. And
yeah. It's true. It's true. But switching gears, though, I know we had the plane. There's been a lot of things with planes going on recently.
Yeah, you heard a little bit about the plane. Where was that?
Well, the one going to Malaysia, the big thing with that is they're saying it's the next biggest mystery since the Amelia Earhart. That's one of the theories I've heard. And then somebody was saying like a time warp, or because of mystery of having no idea where it went. But we'll get back to that.
We'll mention that next, yeah.
Movies never seem to slow down with so many new ones coming out. With Get Real, that's coming up, and we'll check in with Get Real right now.
Let's see what's going on.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Get Real. I'm your host, Batman. JK, it's Ricky Hennon here, and it is Superhero Week. So, to no surprise, we're going to be doing a superhero movie. Marvel has done it again, releasing yet another superhero film. This one features Thor, the God of Thunder, as he and his trusty hammer Mjolnir take on legions of dark elves in Thor, the Dark World.
In this sequel, Thor is fighting to bring peace to the Nine Realms, but when a dark force from the past threatens to bring ultimate destruction, Thor and his allies must sacrifice everything to save the universe. The Dark World sees the return of characters from the first film, including everyone's favorite villain, Loki.
I went down to Midgard to rule the people of Earth as a benevolent god. Just like you.
We are not gods. We're born, we live, we die, just as humans do.
Give or take 5,000 years.
This film follows the stem of Marvel's past films with intense action sequences and CGI animation. But for all its action, the movie does a great job of providing plenty of laughs as well.
I think you missed a column.
Shut up!
Look Why don't you let me take over? I'm clearly the best pilot.
Is that right? Well, out of the two of us, which one can actually fly?
Between all the tension and humor, Thor: The Dark World manages to bring together a few memorable moments.
You must be truly desperate to come to me for help. What makes you think you can trust me?
I don't. And you should know that when we fought each other in the past, I did so with a glimmer of hope that my brother was still in there somewhere. That hope no longer exists to protect you. You betray me, and I will kill you.
This movie has everything a Thor fan could want, and it was a step in the right direction for Marvel's superhero saga. Overall, I give Thor: The Dark World 4 out of 5 stars. For Get Real, I'm Ricky Hendon.
Yes, it's been real. Thank you, Ricky.
Thank you.
All right,
so we were
wrapping
talking,
up
yes,
about
the plane crash.
Yes, and I know you had something on the plane too.
Okay, well, mine isn't quite as mysterious as yours with time warp or anything like that, but this is kind of sad. What happened was the plane went down in Nashville, I believe. It was coming from Kansas, I think. And they said that if it weren't for the expertise of the pilot, then it could have been a lot worse. But it did end up killing one man and 3 of his relatives. And they don't suspect any foul play or anything like that, but just more of a, a maintenance issue with the plane. So.
Right, okay. But switching over to entertainment news,
yes.
We just got through seeing some great movies, Thor, but The Bachelor, there's been some controversy over this guy. What's happening there?
Juan. It's no longer, they're not calling him January anymore, not only because it's not January, but because they're calling him from stud to dud.
Okay.
And he was a huge deal. Everybody loved him, and now everybody basically hates him. They're calling him the worst Bachelor that they have had on the show because he is very narcissistic and he's a jerk. And, he made a lot of comments about he's being a single dad, and he's got this one daughter, and it's very hard for him. And then it comes out that he actually hasn't paid his child support in like 3 or 4 months or something like that. So
that is wild. Okay, well, we'll get back to that.
Yeah, we'll come back to that.
But this week is about town. Take us exploring to a new place to get, lost at.
Let's check in with Nikki Garbrandt for About Town.
There's only one place in Peoria where you can find all of your favorite heroes under one roof. Acme Comics. Peoria has been home to Acme Comics since 1991, and it continues to provide us with our superhero fix.
We still sell mostly new comic books. That's the main part of the business, probably still half of the business. And then probably after that is used video games, and then probably used DVDs, and then just everything else just kind of falls in after that.
With a variety of different collectibles, it's a great place to hang out.
It's kind of a place to go, hang out, meet friends, and there's a lot of inexpensive things here too, so even if you're on a tight budget, you can spend $5-10, leave with a bag full of stuff.
They have comics for kids and vintage collectibles for adults, not to mention the new comics.
Yeah, every Wednesday we get new comic books, and that's always a pretty busy day. The first Saturday of every May is Free Comic Book Day. We buy certain designated comics at a discounted price, and then do a giveaway on that Saturday in May. And that's usually one of the busiest days of the year for us.
If you want a fun atmosphere full of classic collectibles and everybody's favorite heroes, take a trip to Acme Comics. For About Town, I'm Nikki Garbrandt.
Thank you, Nikki. It looks like a lot of fun place.
It does
fun
look
place
fun.
to be. Yeah.
I was never a big comic book reader.
I wasn't either. I think I just more stuck with a lot of the cartoons, and then when the movies came out and stuff like that, we'll kind of do that.
But getting back to The Bachelor a little bit, so yes, they are calling him the worst one. He would make comments like, so he'd sleep with one of the women on the show, and then he made a comment to her like, it really says something about your character that you would sleep with me this early on.
Right. Wow.
So,
okay. Yes.
And then he'd just make inappropriate comments about, mental disabilities, and just using the unsavory words to describe it.
Wow.
So
that's That is a lot, and it sounds like we need a superhero to go in and save.
I think we do. I think we need to save the woman that he picked because she's going to be in trouble. I don't think she's noticed yet what kind of a narcissistic person he is.
Well, hopefully that situation improves.
Yes.
But, you know, moving on to something different also. Getting back to the comic book thing, if besides, you know, being Captain Awesome, who is your favorite superhero?
That's a tough one. I would have to say Superman. Yeah, I definitely have to say Superman because, you know, some of them, like Spider-Man, he gets bit, right?
Right.
And then he's got certain powers. But Superman, I feel like, is the most authentic in terms of true powers. Like, you know, he can fly.
Right.
And his only weakness is kryptonite, which is kind of lame because that's just a rock. But he's still my favorite. Okay. So what about you?
I think for myself, it would probably have to always be Wolverine.
Wolverine, really?
Yes.
Why is
Growing up as a kid, just literally seeing, I mean, his attitude, he always had like this major anger problem, whatever.
For sure.
But I always thought he had good in him, like no matter how wrong he would go,
He's got a good beard.
All right.
Are you aspiring to that?
There is so much talent in Peoria, and Brooke always has the best.
We know it will be an exceptional this week as Pablo flies in from About Town. Let's check in with Brooke.
Yes.
Welcome to State of the Arts. I'm your host, Brooke Janes. Today we have our very own Pablo Iglesias flying here from Street Team. He should be here any minute now, flying around. He's flying in from around town, so. Well, there you are.
Here I am. You know, fighting crime. That's what I was doing right now, just going over through the streets of Peoria. But here I am today to play some music for you today,
You're so
Brooke.
noble. Perfect. So you're very multifaceted.
Yeah, I guess you can say that. I guess my superpower is actually just changing clothes really quickly, as you can see.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, my last segment I had shirt and tie, but kind of tone things down a little bit here.
So impressive. And last time you were on with us, you performed with the ukulele too, so you can switch up between the strings too.
Yep, that as well too. Yeah, we said, I play strings a lot. Guitar, actually, this is probably, I would have to say, my Taylor is probably one of my favorite instruments too. I love my ukulele, but you know, it all started with my 6-string guitar. So
this very one?
No, actually, the other one's back at home. I had a Yamaha, but I think what's really different about this one is it's got a really rich sound, like just something like that. I really love the way it comes off, and like I said, this is my favorite instrument to play.
Sure. And you mentioned back home. Where is that?
I'm from Chicago.
Chicago, okay.
Chicago too.
Chicago, the real Chicago.
Yes.
Okay. Do you play a lot around home, or?
You know, I used to a lot. I used to do a lot back home. I was in a couple bands here and there. There was more of classic rock oriented, you know, kind of current. Today, like on campus, you know, I played a couple open mics here and there, not too much. Also play with like some people on campus as well. Just kind of get together, more of like a kickback setting and just, you know, relax and just kind of enjoy it too. So that's what I do.
All right. And last time you were on, you played a 21 Pilots song, and I'd never heard of them, and I looked into them, and they were great. So I hope you impress me again. What are you going to play today?
Today I'm actually going to play one of my favorite songs by the Lumineers. It's actually one of the first tracks on their album. It's called Flowers in Your Hair.
Cool.
So
yeah, have at it.
All right. When we were younger, we thought everyone was on our side, and we grew a little and romanticized the time I saw flowers in your hair. See, it takes a boy to live, it takes a man to pretend he was there. So then we grew a little and knew a lot, and now we demonstrated it to the cops and all the things you saw. We were self-assured. It's a long road to wisdom, but it's a short one of being ignored. So be in my eyes, and be in my heart, and be in my eyes, and be in my heart. So then I think that I could love you back. I hope it's not too late, 'cause you're so attractive in the way you move. I won't close my eyes.
woman to make him compromise. Be in my eyes, be in my heart. Oh, be in my eyes, be in my heart.
Well done.
Thank you.
Very powerful player. Well, that's all the time we have for this week. And thank you, Pablo, for being on the show. Be sure to join us next week for a more in-depth look at talent around the area. I'm your host, Brooke Janes. Thank you for watching.
Thank you, Brooke, and thank you, Pablo. Amazing performance. He was really
awesome.
good.
Yeah. I didn't know, he kind of could sing and playing the guitar.
He played the ukulele, so I knew he was, talented in the musical areas,
really
but
awesome.
that was good.
That was really awesome. One last thing. You had some cool new app or something?
Oh, yeah, they've got this cool new speed reading app. It lets you read like 1,000 words a minute, and typically a person can read 220 words a minute. So they're saying you could read the Harry Potter book in like an hour.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think that could be dangerous for school.
Well, I saw some people trying it out. They're like, I feel kind of nauseous.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
I might have to check that out. You know, I'm thinking about doing a master's program after this.
There you go. So that would definitely help you through it.
Yeah, I got an offer from London. So
awesome.
I'm just trying to decide if I want to go overseas or not. And
I think you do. That'd be amazing, right?
It would be, So
It'd be
I don't
hard
know.
to be away from home, but
yeah, I saw the First Lady talking about we need more Americans going overseas to bring back experience. Yeah.
Oh,
over
very
there.
cool.
And so I was considering it. How about yourself?
Well, I'm still in my current major, which is communications.
Right.
I am hoping to be a talk show host when I'm older. So
Right. Kind of like we're doing now.
Absolutely.
Maybe on a bigger platform, even more bigger. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, that's the goal. Hopefully, I always bring it up and kind of keep it going, right?
Yep. So we talked about a lot today. We talked about the plane crash and
multiple at that.
Multiple plane crashes. One kind of mysterious. Hopefully, they can figure that out.
Right. Kids, please stay away from drugs.
Yes.
Definitely.
Prescription and heroin.
All
of them, right?
Yes, let's keep a healthy living, definitely.
Talked a little bit about body images and Photoshop. But I am curious, what superhero power would you pick?
We'll have to save that for next time. Right now, we're out of time for the Superhero Midstate episode this week. I'm Don McClure.
And I'm Kayla Neitz. Have a good night and be sure to join us next time.